this whole concept about withholding taxes, right? Yesterday we were talking about like it's not really a big deal. Like we got to kind of come up with a better way of putting it. Withholding taxes. How long has that thing been around? Withholding taxes. And the first time ever where we withheld taxes, who was it under? First time we ever withheld taxes.
That's easy. That's easy. That's like 40, 50 years ago, some Democratic president. Give me a Kennedy.
Okay, Lincoln was the first person that came out with the withholding taxes. You gave, essentially what they did is they made the employer the tax collector. The employer became the tax collector to see what they can do with the taxes rather than the IRS being the tax collector, because they wanted to pay off the Civil War, which they did. And the American people were okay with that because it eventually what? Stopped.
Yeah.
It eventually stopped, okay? But 1862, they don't have the ADP system. They don't have all the system that they have today. It was simple. The employer kind of paid it to the government, right? Now, fast forward. So that went away. Years later, guess who made it official to help tax withholding system become a law?
Easy. Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Okay, you know who it is?
Who?
Milton Friedman.
Oh.
Out of all the
A Republican.
A Republican. So you know what he said?
Libertarian Republican. What was he?
I would
he
say he's Republican. I would say he's Republican. By the way, later on in life, when he did this, it was in 1943. He was younger. He helped. The reason why, he says, because we have to pay off the World War II money. We just didn't have the money for it, right? So they went from having, this is actually a very interesting fact here. They went from in 1939, how many people in America do you think filed taxes in 1939? How many Americans filed taxes in 1939? U.S. population at the time was 131 million.
Yeah, I'm going to say
20 million.
50 million.
4 million people.
Wow.
There they go.
3 years later,
they go.
3 years later, 41 million. They went from revenues being 900 million in 39 to 5 years later in 43 being $43 billion. So think about the amount of money they raised.
Yeah, but that probably won World War II because of it.
Well, then, but here's what happened. The difference is, when it comes down to taxes, the following. Here's the difference. The difference is the fact that when they came up with the taxes in 1862 under Lincoln, they said it's going to go away. Under Woodrow Wilson, they came out with the 16th Amendment. The 16th Amendment allowed people to make income taxes a law, because before it was tough, you couldn't do it. The 16th Amendment allowed politicians to go back, because there was this one case, 1894, I want to say, Charles Pollock against Farmers Company of 1894. Put Charles Pollock, I think it's versus Farmers of 1894, I think something like that. Type that in, Farmers. Okay, there you go. Click on that. 1895, I was one off. So Charles Pollock versus the Farmers Loan and Trust of 1895. When they came up with this, they were trying to tax the U.S. population 4%, 2% on $4,000 or more of income. He said, no, you can't do that. It's against the Constitution. The guy went and fought. Supreme Court defended him, saying, you're right. The Constitution says you cannot just tax people income taxes. So later on, under Wilson, they made it a law. The 16th Amendment allowed the government to just impose any kind of taxes, right? Now, here's a kicker. In 1913, when the Woodrow Wilson new amendment came up, what happened to World War I? When did World War I start?
1917.
Okay. We got involved around 1917, 1919. Do you know the taxes when Woodrow Wilson first introduced the progressive taxes? It was 1% for anybody making $0 to $20,000. It was 2% for $20,000 to $50,000. And it went all the way up. The top marginal tax rate in 1913 was 7%. 7%, not 70%. 4 years later, the top marginal tax rate went to 67%. And you want to know something crazy? From 1917 till 1965, the top marginal tax rate never went below 67%. And went all the way up to 94% is what happened to taxes. Anyways, I mean, the whole concept of taxes, mind-boggling when you study what happened here.
Can I give you one number?
Sure.
Okay, if you don't know this, jump in. If you do, maybe don't. But how many new IRS agents does Joe Biden want to hire?
3 times what we have today.
There's a number, exactly. Do you know what it is? I mean, this is
87,000?
unbelievable. 87,000
Yeah.
IRS agents, man. They are going to be going nuts. You know, they want to dig back on all the tax evasion that they feel that people were guilty of, as far as high net worth people. So they're clawing after that money, trillions. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
All to do audits. I mean, they're going to be auditing like crazy.
So what were your biggest takeaways? From what I understand, the tax correlation between taxes and war.
Yeah. Can you pull up that link about who's paying more taxes, the 1%, the 5%, the 10%? You know which one I'm talking about. Can I send it to you?
Number 2, it doesn't seem like this is a Democratic high taxation thing. It seems like Republicans were taxing too.
Yeah, but
based on what you're saying.
The difference is Republicans did taxes assuming it's temporary. Democrats made it permanent. That's the difference.
And for specific costs.
Yeah,
for
so Lincoln said, hey, let's raise taxes to pay off Civil War. Democrats said, Socialist Labor Party, the Populist Party, the Democratic Party. What if we can make this permanent? And they did. When Milton Friedman agreed to the tax withholding system, the only reason he did was because he thought it was to pay off the World War II debt that we had. He didn't think it was going to be permanent. Obviously, he helped it become permanent. Before he died in his memoir, he talked about one of the biggest mistakes he ever made is helping pass the tax withholding system.
Really?
And he said it was going to happen with or without him, but he helped out. Can you pull up the numbers here, Kai? Take a look at this. So you know how we talk about who pays the most taxes in America? You know how we say the 1%'s not paying taxes anymore? This is an interesting chart. If you make it bigger and flip the focus on them, Sam. So this is the number of percentage of taxpayers. The bottom 50%, look how big it is, right? Then you got the top 25 to 50%. Then you got the top 10. You look at the bottom 1%. Very small community, right? Very small community. Now, who pays the biggest amount of taxes in America? Look at the right. The 1% pays nearly the same amount of taxes as the bottom 50% pays. Look at the 1% right there. And then go to the next chart. Go to the next chart that we had. Go down. I think it's a couple more. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Is it above it or below it? Maybe it was above that, Kai. Right there. Make it a little smaller. This shows over the years, is the 1% paying more or less taxes? Look at that. All the way to the left. It shows you from 1980 to today. As the year goes by, the 1% keeps paying more and more and more taxes. The top 5% is also paying more and more. If you're in the 10%, you're the same. Nothing's changed for the top 10%. The top 25%, it's getting lower. The top 50% is getting lower. And the bottom 50%, it's definitely getting lower. So this kind of tells you, when you get into it and you take a deep dive into the tax topic, you realize it is not as black and white as people talk about. It's not like, hey, you know, Republicans do this, Democrats do this. No, Republicans also raise taxes, but there was an intention behind it with the payoff. The Democrats look at that and capitalize and let's make this permanent. So again,
did you get the feeling after doing the video that they could easily simplify this, or 100%, this is okay?
100%. Yeah. I think one of the biggest reasons why I did this video is to get people to just question. Like, what I want to see is the following. Like, right now, look, we got 1,652 people watching. By the way, let me just announce this right now. Here's what we're doing today. We got a couple new ideas that we came up with. Anybody that puts a super chat, whether it's $1, $5, $10, $100, whatever it may be, $500. By the end, I'm going to pick 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 best super chat quotes or questions that if we involve you, and we're going to pay you back 10 times what you put in super chat. For example, you put $10. What's 10 times 10? We're going to wire you $100. You put $100. If it's the best super chat question, we're going to wire you back, what do you call it, $1,000. Game, because this is not a money-making machine for us. We're doing this podcast because we're enjoying this, but at the same time, we want more people involved. Look at this, 1,690 people on it, right? Okay. Do you know how many people, like this video goes out in Valuetainment. Valuetainment's got 3 million subscribers. How many views do you think the tax video is going to get? Honestly.
It's going to be one of those that people share, right?
You
no
think
question.
So? I don't think so.
Ah, really?
That's the problem, what I think. I think, now, if I put a video of me, you know, going out there and jumping out of a plane, it's probably going to get 1 million views. If I put a video with me and a couple mobsters, it's probably going to get 100 million views. If I put a video about taxes and the history of taxes, it's going to get probably 100,000 to 200,000 views over the next 12 months. Why? Because nobody cares. Nobody cares about taxes. They're entertained. They're watching Netflix. They're watching sports. There's a very small community of people that are sitting there saying this matters. Here's a challenge, though. Here's the good news there. You know what the good news is? If Charles Pollack could do what he did, and Supreme Court can go in his favor, if a story like this with Lincoln, which you're a smart guy, you went to a good university, you did not know. You're a smart guy, you didn't know. I'm a pretty well-read guy. I didn't know this kind of stuff. I'm sitting here saying, Kai's read half the books in the world. He didn't know any of this stuff, right? We're sitting here going through this data, and we're like, I never knew about that. IRS got started under Lincoln. I never knew about that. You mean to tell me it was only for 10 years and then you went away with it? Yeah, because they wanted to pay off the Civil War. I never knew about that. That's what needs to be talked about. The American people need to sit there and say, wait, what? You mean to tell me federal income taxes went away? Yes. How? Because we were living off of excise and tariff taxes. That's what we were living off of.
Right.
It was 50 cents per ton of goods coming from out of the states, foreign, 50 cents per ton. And it was 6 cents per anything that was being exchanged within the states. So there are ways for us to change our taxes where people from the outside are paying. There are ways we can change our taxes and decrease it. But right now, everybody's just kind of looking away, being entertained, and taxes keep going up and up and up and up and up, and we have no clue what the hell is going on.
Yeah, but
here.
it's so many social programs that once they have the money coming in, they just find new ways to spend it. That's the difference now, right? That's why these things will never be lowered. Once the politicians get a handle.
What do you mean by social programs?
Well, I just mean all the money that's going out, all the free money that's going out. Look what's happened the last few weeks. So, I mean, that's where the tax money's going. That's why they want to keep raising the taxes. It's not like they're looking to cut spending, cut anything in the budget.
You know where the majority of our U.S. budget goes? The majority of our budget.
Are you going to say military?
It is, though.
Defense?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, defense is not even in the top 5.
Oh, okay. What is it?
Number 1 is Social Security.
No.
Number 2,
entitlement programs.
That entitlement's not even in the top 20. I'm just saying where our actual $20 trillion budget goes, where it's actually going. The big 3, Social Security, Medicare,
Can you pull
Medicaid.
it up, guys, so we can look at this?
If you Google U.S. budget breakdown, by far and away it's Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. It's not even close. And then after those big 3 things, you have paying off our...
There's one that has like a pie chart, Kai. If you
exactly,
can go to
pie
it.
chart. Go to the pie chart. And then you
Just press
paying
there you
off our
go,
debt. Paying off our debt is
Images.
probably 7 to 8%. Then you have the military. And then all the social programs that everyone thinks about. Look, healthcare,
Defense is
Social
third.
Security.
Defense is
I think that might not even be right. Go to a different one. Point is, the vast majority of our budget goes to old and sick people. That's the United States.
Go up a little bit, discretionary spending. So military.
That's
discretionary
just a
spending.
military. That's discretionary spending. Just say overall. Anyway, the point is, there it is right there. Social Security, unemployment, labor.
Medicare, health.
Medicare and health.
Total mandatory spending that we have. Yeah, but military is going to be different than that. Here's the point. The point is, if we keep going the way we are and nobody questions it, we're just going to keep coming up with new taxes. Okay, constantly coming up with new taxes. And eventually, here's another interesting fact for you. Which president increased the national debt the most by percentage-wise?
I'm going to guess Lincoln. He's responsible for all of this.
Okay.
Give me a Lincoln.
But in this part, it's FDR.
Yeah.
It's
The New Deal.
1,075%, which,
Yeah.
by the way, was in 1930, when he was the New Deal. You know who's the second? You should be able to guess it. It's 1916. Who was the guy with the 16th Amendment? 1913. Who was the 16th Amendment? Woodrow Wilson.
Woodrow
okay?
Wilson.
He's
Come
second
on
place.
now.
Okay, he's second place. Who do you think's dollar amount the most? Obama. $8.8 trillion. You know who's second place? Trump. It's very interesting when you look at the numbers and see what's going on. But percentage-wise, FDR and Woodrow Wilson changed the entire tax system in America, and very few of us sit there and study about it. I don't know. I just think there's an opportunity for us to learn more.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to tax time and voting, we're going to vote in a different way.
This
There you
segment
go.
has been sponsored by TurboTax. If you have not done your taxes yet, TurboTax
By the
is,
way, TurboTax is very thankful for even saying their name right now.
Yes,
Because
we
now
agree.
some people actually think it is TurboTax. It's actually not sponsored by TurboTax. It's sponsored by
PVD tax.
No. What's the green company? The green logo.
H&R Block?
H&R Block, yeah.
Yeah.
No, neither one of them. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.